Hello, welcome back to Titans of Gaia. This is the second part in my series of the Huntress versus the Werewolves. This is the Quadrupedal Werewolf, which means it's a werewolf who walks on all fours. So this is the wire armature. I used tin foil to bulk it out, and there's tiny bits of epoxy sculpt on the joints to give it a bit of strength. And I've used wire to wrap round some of it. It helps the clay grab onto the surface a lot better. So just like I always do, I add some epoxy putty to the surface. This is called Milliput. I just rough it out. I don't want to make it too smooth. In fact, it's better that it's quite rough, because when it's hardened, it helps the clay stick to the surface a lot better. This is Super Sculpey that I'm using. I'll put a thin layer on top and start building up layers of muscle. I take off the limbs. This is just a torso, so it's just easier for me to work on freely. I've designed it and made it in such a way that I can take the limbs and head off easily and put them back in. So the anatomy here is not absolutely correct. I kind of made it up, but I try to make it look realistic. I know the rule of thumb is not to make up your anatomy, but you want to make it look like it can function. Because it's a creature, I want it to make it look like a mutant, because it is a mutant. The rib cage of a human and wolf is different, but has strong similarities, because we are mammals after all. So with this, I sculpt the head just one half on a flat surface, which made my job a lot easier. Again, I work in layers, which is why I'm able to hold it like this. If it was still soft, I won't be able to hold this sculpture in my hand. In the end, I just found it easier just to use a lid. That helped. And adding more layers of fur, because you can't just do one layer of fur. It's very difficult and it's frustrating, and it just makes more sense because hair is in layers, you know. And I'm using Super Sculpey here for the legs. It helps using two different materials. Super Sculpey is very soft. I find it a little bit too soft. You can buy Super Sculpey firm, but I still find that a bit too soft as well. But I always use it to do musculature because you can be very precise, although it can be frustrating because it's very bouncy. It's firmer than Play-Doh, but a lot softer than, let's say, plasticine or something like that. Love this stuff though. I've been using Super Sculpey for 21 years and I do enjoy it. have a real blast creating texture in clay, creating hair texture, fur. I wasn't sure how long to do the fur, and looking through books and stuff, you get really coarse fur and soft fur, and it depends on the weather conditions and stuff. So this is a little update of how far I got. This black and white video clip. I added layer after layer of fur. I think it worked out okay eventually. Here I'm doing the teeth. Because the mouth is closed, it's a lot easier to create the teeth, because if the mouth was open, it'd be a lot more trickier, and I'd have to sculpt each tooth individually, which isn't a problem, of course. I'm just saying it's just a lot easier this way, you know. Here's me trying to get it right as best that I can, and I'm using a Dremel. I've got all different bits which do different jobs, and the great thing about the Dremel is that it can be very precise. It's very messy though. It's important to wear protective gear, mask, gloves, goggles, and plenty of ventilation. If you ever do this kind of thing, don't ever do it around kids or anyone else, and have the vacuum right next to you, because if you get this stuff in your lungs, it's really nasty stuff. I'm not trying to put you off, I'm just trying to encourage you to be mindful of health and safety at all times. For creating the claws, I have to make individually, wait for them to cure, and then I sculpt the toes and then stick in the claws afterwards. And we're coming to the end now of this particular sculpture. do hope you've enjoyed this video process, and I hope to see you soon.